Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pager here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 3, and this is going to be my review for episode 18, otherwise entitled Abracadabra. So obviously before we go ahead, there will be spoilers, so don't continue if you have not watched the episode yet, might I say, because a decent amount happened in this episode, especially towards the end, so there's a decent amount to talk about. Now, there was really no real setup for this week, because last week we had the Flash Supergirl musical crossover. Like, they only referenced the singing once, and it's in a scene between, Barry, Iris, and Joe and Cecile, is that her name? Joe's girlfriend? But I really did like Abracadabra's entrance. It was almost like Harry Houdini, like the thing in the tank. We revisited Stag Industries, which was interesting. We haven't been there for a while, and we find out that it's getting bought out. Now, I don't know if that's something to pay attention to, and someone's coming to Central City, a new company or something, and they may play into next season, because I highly doubt they would do anything this season with it. So I don't know if they were just chucking that in there to explain why Stag Industries looked like it was deserted, or if it is something that is like hinting to something coming next season, but we can't really assume anything at the moment. Now, Abracadabra knows everything about the Flash. He's actually from the 64th century, so if you think about that, that's a long time in the future. Eobard Thawne was from the 22nd, I think, on the show. Like in the comics, I think he's from the 30th or something. But in the show, they made him from like the 22nd century. So if you can, you compare those two, he's quite far in the future, isn't he? But as I said, he knows everything about the Flash. He knows that he's Barry Allen. He knows everything that happens in his life, essentially. He knows that Savitar kills Iris. And obviously he's claiming that he does in fact know Savitar's identity. Now, along with Abracadabra coming in this episode, we also had Gypsy coming back. Now, I have seen some, before this episode came on, some people saying, oh, it's annoying having Gypsy around all the time. I can understand that argument because she has been in a few episodes now, in not necessarily a succession, but in a short amount of time. But they really needed someone like Gypsy on the episode, so there was like a fight for the possession of Abracadabra, if you know what I mean. Like, if there was no force going up against Team Flash in regards to Abracadabra, then they would have known Savitar's identity like 10 minutes into the episode, because Barry would have just let him go and got the identity. But Gypsy's like taking him because he's at the top of the most wanted list on... I don't necessarily know if it's straight on Earth 19. He did some stuff on Earth 19, but he's at the top of a most wanted list. So yeah, it'd be a pretty good catch for her if she got him. Now, one of the more interesting parts of this episode in regards to like just two people was Cisco and Gypsy. Last time they'd met, they had a bit of a kiss before Gypsy went back to Earth 19, but she's come back and she's angry, and there's a reason for her being angry and really wanting to get Abracadabra, and that's because he actually killed her partner in both senses, like sort of like a, crime fighting partner, but also a, romantic partner, which is why there was so much tension between Cisco and Gypsy in this episode for the most part. I think she said it was 3 years ago that it happened, so she's been waiting a long time to finally get revenge on Abracadabra, and you can understand that really makes it clear why she was so, forceful against everyone else. Now, as I said earlier, Abracadabra apparently knew Savitar's identity. Now, it is hard to know whether he actually full-on knew this, because he actually never reveals it to anyone. He's about to reveal it to Joe, and then, Gypsy sort of interrupts it. So it's hard to 100% know if he actually knew it, or if it was his play to just try and escape from Team Flash, because he knew that's one thing they really, really wanted to know, because they want to try and prevent Iris's death. Now, I was expecting someone to go solo to Abracadabra and try and get the information on Savitar, and I was expecting either Wally or Joe, and it ended up being Joe, so I think those are the most two obvious ones that were going to go and try and get the information off him. But it's actually pretty smart, because he sort of let himself get captured. It's not like really played out extremely obviously in the episode, but he essentially let himself get caught because he needed that piece from Dr. Wells or Eobard Thawne's time vault in Star Labs, so he could build his own time sphere of sorts, similar to what Cisco built for, the Reverse Flash at the end of Season 1. Looked a bit different. It sort of looked like the dropship from the Wave Rider, if you watch the crossover episodes. It sort of looked like that. But he needed this tech to get back to the future. He isn't able to get back there. He needs this to get there, similar to Eobard Thawne at the end of Season 1. So really, that was his plan for the majority of the episode. Now, speaking of the time ship, it was a pretty cool action scene with it flying through Central City, and we had Kid Flash, Cisco, or Vibe, and Gypsy all going through trying to stop him. I thought it looked pretty cool. It was a bit silly because he was going faster than like the speedsters, and then as soon as that wormhole opened, he decided to go really slow. I don't know why that was. I guess it was obviously so Barry could catch up to him. But yeah, what are you gonna do? Now, one of the more tense parts of the episode would have to be Caitlyn's surgery scene because I wouldn't say it was graphic because it really wasn't that graphic. It was just really like the faces that everyone was making made those faces, if you know what I mean. Like it was just tense in that way. Now, I actually was expecting Caitlyn to go sort of Killer Frost. I actually did think they were going to take her necklace off at that point, go Killer Frost, and she would heal, but then go back to Caitlyn, similar to what happened earlier this season. Now, obviously, there was no reveal by Abracadabra of Savitar, even though we got that pretty, savage, I guess you could say, conversation between the two where Abracadabra, it looked like he was going to reveal it, and then it, came to him that he is technically killing Iris as well and causing a lot of pain to Barry because they've been fighting very far in the future, and he's loving this. He's loving seeing Barry in pain, and as he does say, it's almost like I'm killing Iris as well, so he's a maniac, but a pretty smart maniac as well. Like, he could have easily let Barry know who Savitar was, if he knew, obviously, and then the future would actually be a bit changed because Iris most likely wouldn't die. Now, due to this non-reveal of Savitar's identity, Barry is deciding to go to the future. Now, he doesn't say back to the future, so I think he's going actually further in the future than what we've seen in May, so we'll have to see what happens there because I'm assuming he's going to talk to the future Barry or something along those lines, and he actually might know who Savitar is or have a decent idea of who he is. But that's obviously in a month's time because the show's going on break, which does suck, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a bit annoying not having Flash for a while along with the other shows, but at least we know it's probably coming back with a kick-ass episode, and I think it left off with a pretty damn good episode as well. But if something's going on break, you need the last scene to be quite extraordinary, and I think we got that in this episode. With, it looked like a fun scene. It ended quickly. It was one of those end credit scenes because the Flash thing came up and there was still 3 or 4 minutes left in the episode, and I was like, holy crap, what's going to happen here? And I just thought it was going to be a fun, jolly time. Something might happen, like someone might come in or another character that we haven't seen before might pop in and reveal who Savitar's identity might be in some way. But we basically got everyone coming in. We got HR, who had been on a 2-day romantic romp, I think they called it, with a certain woman who Cisco was just like, I do not want to hear any of it, please, HR. It's killing my brain, so please stop talking. So I thought that was pretty funny. I actually forgot that HR wasn't in the episode. I did not even notice because there was actually so much going on in the episode that I just completely forgot HR wasn't there, which is weird because I think he's actually one of the better parts of the show. But unfortunately, I think it was a blood clot that Caitlyn started having, and throughout the surgery scene, they had been saying about if Caitlyn did go into some sort of shock, they would remove the necklace because her Killer Frost abilities allow her to, regenerate. And obviously that's what happens here. She dies, Cisco's bawling. It was a pretty tense scene, more tense than the surgery scene for sure. Because I was wondering, okay, are they going to pull it off while she's having the seizure, or is something going to happen? Something else going to happen? Obviously she's dead. She's stone cold dead, no pun intended. And they pull off the necklace, and it was actually insane. What that effect with the frost just going off and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. I thought at first that they made her so she can turn into frost, if you know what I mean, disappear. But obviously it was just a big cloud of frost, and she emerged with her white hair, full on Killer Frost like we saw on Earth 2. So Killer Frost is back. I think we were all thinking this was going to happen. It was a bit, it was up in the air whether she was going to come back or not. I thought she was going to come back because I was like, they wouldn't tease that and not allow it to happen. I guess the big question around this is, will Caitlyn go back to normal? What's going to happen? Because as I said, next episode, they're probably going to deal with this future Flash thing for the most part. I don't think there'd be too much Killer Frost, apart from maybe a 5-minute scene or 5 minutes in total within the episode. But yeah, it's very exciting, and I like Killer Frost. I do think Danielle Panabaker plays Killer Frost really well, better than the actual normal character. I guess you could compare it to Katie Cassidy, how she plays Black Siren in a much better way than she would the Black Canary. I think she just suits the character more. But yeah, as I said, the big question would be, is she taken down or is she going to carry over into next season? And this is, the remaining of this season is going to be sort of the origin of her criminality, if you want to call it that, or her villainous ways, and it will continue on to next year. I don't think she'd be the big bad because I don't think it's that big of a bad, if you know what I mean, but she might team up with people. As I said when I made my video on the weekend, they could do a rogues thing and she could replace Captain Cold on that team if they wanted to do that. But it was a hard decision for both Cisco and Julian. It was like, well, she said she'd rather die than become Killer Frost, but then you don't know if you let her die, if there was any other way. Like, you could have taken that necklace off and there could have been a way to actually save her. So it was a hard decision for them all to make, even though Julian was the one that took that final decision. And he's going to be the one that has to live with that if Caitlyn goes on and becomes a villain and, you know, kills other people. And honestly, because it's Tom Felton, it wouldn't surprise me if Killer Frost actually killed him. It'd be an actual hard moment because those two were very close together when she wasn't Killer Frost. There was issues. And then he's done something right at the end which did save her life. But unfortunately, it actually led to his death. Hopefully I'm making that make sense. But as I said, overall, this episode was actually very entertaining. As I said, it was very entertaining that I didn't even notice that H.R. Wells wasn't in the episode. He walked in, I was like, oh, he hasn't been in the episode at all. So very entertaining. And I think it was a decent episode to finish the break off. I think, as I said, teasing the Savitar identity, I think it would have been cool if they showed that. But we're heading into, I think there's, 5 or 6 episodes left, and we still don't know the identity, so I wonder how long they'll leave that for until they actually reveal it. We could get it next episode, but that could be more trying to, figure out a way to beat Savitar rather than finding out who he is. But I will have my trailer breakdown out for the next episode, the usual time that I upload it, so be on the lookout for that. But if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like on it. Let me know in the comments section down below. What was your favourite part of the episode? What do you think is going to happen with Killer Frost? Do you think they're really going to play it out for the end of this season? It's going to be sort of like a side plot and she will go back to Caitlyn by the end of the season? Or do you think they're going to carry it over to next season and do something with her character there? Just let me know all of your opinions in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys, and goodbye.